MBMG the studio.
You are now tuned in the
Podcast.
Toddcast podcast. Tune into the broadcast. If you ain't showing love, then I'ma have to bypass. This one for the low class, this one for the high class. Toddcast podcast.
It's your boy T1, host of the TheTodkazzPodkazz, with a true assessment of the state of Black America. This ain't a cry for freedom. This ain't a plea of a victim. This is just the plain truth, uncut, no fluff. So let's get into it. Take a sip of my motherfucking Java. I got to have that. And you hear pages turn, goddamn it, hell, I'm 53. Everything is not done digitally. You understand? So, from that point, we're gonna move forward. America. And in this term, I'm not speaking to the ones with the 3Ks. Okay, this is just regular America. This is just good folk in America. You watching these motherfucking politics. If you ain't, you should be. You understand what I'm saying? It's a shame for a grown motherfucker to not know what's going on politically. I don't care what you say. I know you got your opinion and I got mine. This is my show. You gonna get my perspective. You can think what you want. I ain't asking you to change. I don't give a fuck about that. You know? I don't give a fuck about that. I'm not I often say, I'm not a Martin Luther King Jr. type of person. I'm not knocking him. You know, he did what he thought was best. And that's all you can do. I used to be upset at him or with him, feeling like he led us into a burning house. But when a motherfucker leads you, he ain't gotta follow. So people make their own choice, you know what I'm saying? I believe it took away our leverage. I mean, essentially the civil rights was us begging folks to say, okay, you guys are legitimate. You know, you guys are, you're human. I ain't need you to tell me that. Just make this bathroom as clean as you make the other bathroom, or give us the funding to do it. You know, make this restaurant, allow us to get our own restaurant. I ain't gonna never eat at no motherfucking restaurant that don't serve niggas. So just to me, it didn't make no sense, you know. But like I said, the politics, your boy Donald J. I can't call him president. I know he is the president. If he was in the room, I'd have to show respect, whatever the case is, because of the Secret Service, you know, whatever the case is. But, I mean, the man is the president. But I definitely didn't vote for him. I don't see how any black motherfucker vote for an open racist. And you have to be intellectually foolish to believe anything other than Donald Trump is a racist. I'm not even going to dwell on that. But what is amazing is not just the display of white privilege, but the going along with it, and the coalitionist, the racial coalition that has, like Like, I don't see how black motherfuckers support Trump. I don't give a damn if you were a Republican before that. When that motherfucker opened his mouth, he sounds like an idiot. For one. For two, if you check his background, it reeks of racism, racist, just energy, period. I mean, he honestly believes that man is, that's not an attractive brother. Pause. You understand what I'm saying? But you can tell when a motherfucker's a motherfucker, or that nigga. You know, that motherfucker, like, you can tell when a nigga is that nigga. You know. So, Trump paid that. I mean, pay for everything. You gotta pay for pussy. And to me, that's negatory. That's not positive. It's negative. You know, it came from something a long time ago. It's an inside joke to those that know it, but that's not positive. You know, but these black Trump supporters, Latinos too, like, okay, let me get my take on like what's going on as far as like with the ICE situation and shit. The shit's fucked up. It truly is. But we tried to tell you motherfuckers before the election who he was. His immigration policies indicated who he was. Y'all still voted for this motherfucker. I don't get it. Just to be disassociated with the nigga movement. You know, and Latinos, I don't see you as niggas. You know what I'm saying? Your background says that you're 65% European. You know, some percentage of the American Indian, but you ain't a nigga. And Puerto Ricans, you know, they got a little bit more. Because I say this because I was at a job and I heard one Mexican call another Mexican a nigga. I laughed, you know. It's so many bouts of racism on a daily basis. You can't battle them all. Some of them you just gotta laugh off. That's just the God's honest truth. To be a conscious man, James Baldwin, and I'm paraphrasing, said that to be a conscious man, a conscious black man living in America, means that you're always in torment, it's torturous to live here and to know what's going on. And the term, you know, when they say ignorance is bliss, they're not lying. It just would be blissful to know, because to what end is this life? If you're born here just to suffer, then why live at all? You know, why live at all? The very thought of death, you know, it brings value to your life, but then at the same time, it makes you say, what was the purpose? You know, what the fuck was the purpose? And if I can't live here and just be left alone to be happy, then why fucking be here at all? You know, why be here at all? Because, you know, I would never change my color. I wouldn't want to be another color. If I'm born something else, I'm going to be upset. You know, because I don't know, we have a memory of the first life that we live. I'm assuming this is the first time that I've been here. You know. But to what avail? You know? To what avail? Like, why are blacks hated all over the world simply for being black. I honestly believe that by the age of 2, maybe even sooner than that, because you're already dealing with doctors that won't think less of you mentally, culturally, that we suffer from PTSD. Some of you niggas crack. Any motherfucker that voted for Trump is black. You cracked. It's beyond selling out. Your need for acceptance came before your need for the love for yourself. That trickles down. That trickle down economics don't work, but this trickles down because there's an effect that you have on your children, your family, your friends. I'm just gonna use an example. I got a friend that's a business owner in the city of Atlanta. And this motherfucker lost his goddamn scruples. Nigga, he was born the hood of South Bend, Indiana. Nigga, Lakeside, nigga. And if you don't know me, I got 2 hometowns, okay? I grew up in 2 cities. I still dwell in those 2 cities to this day. So, I got day ones in 2 cities. This is one of my day ones. And I could strangle this nigga. Just joking. Let me change that. Let me try to bleep that out. But this is metaphorically speaking. I would never want to see harm come to him. Okay? But he seemingly harmed himself because at this point, I don't see him as having a soul. You gave it away. You didn't even sell it. You're not even a sellout. You gave your soul away because now you're a business owner. And you feel like you should see things as Donald Trump sees things, the way that Republicans see things, So, when we talk, we argue. When he talks to anybody else that he's just about, when it comes to politics, because we try not to bring up politics, that's probably what's best. But, but in my mind, my nigga, you a fucking sellout. No, a give out, some bullshit. Just to educate nigga, you ain't even getting nothing for your soul. But the crave and the need for acceptance. And again, this is my show, this is my opinion. You can feel how you wanna feel. Alright. But to me, facts are facts. The history of the Republican Party is a nasty one. For anybody that knows it, and if you're scared to read or research, they got AI now for you motherfuckers that don't want to think. Use AI and ask AI if the Republican Party is a racist sentiment. Ever since the civil rights were, I'm not gonna say invented, but were proposed, the Republicans have constantly been against it. And the Democrats that also disagreed with blacks receiving civil rights, which were labeled Dixiecrats because they left the Democratic Party and then went to the Republican Party. Because it was, to me, don't make no fucking sense. How you free, quote unquote, some people, but then don't give them you don't want to give them no rights. Ever since the inception of the civil rights, the Republican Party has been trying to chip away at them, which they just completed, with the Supreme Court, which makes me want to fucking vomit. They just completed that mission. Clarence Thomas, that's who blacks that vote for Trump. You guys are all just like Clarence. Again, my opinion, my show. You can dispute. It's not gonna change how I feel about you. But anyway, it's sad. This is 2026, and we still are talking about fucking civil motherfucking rights. Anyway, it just won't leave black folks alone, man. It just won't. I told you I am from two hometowns, okay? South Bend, Indiana, Paducah, Kentucky. I was born in Paducah. I was reared in South Bend. Spent approximately 7 months in South Bend. This is from the age of 5, and 5 months in Paducah. Summers, vacations, so-called holidays, and shit like that. When I graduated, I immediately moved to Kentucky and went to UK. Well, it wasn't my first college. I went to Lane in Jackson, Tennessee first. Then I went to UK. But I could have went to IU for free on my test grades, along my test scores. Alone, I don't know why I walked away from that. Been making bad decisions ever since. You know what I'm saying? But because in my mind, I looked at something as free, as invaluable, no, as not valuable. Okay. Don't ask me to rationalize that shit. Because I'm 53, and till this day, I still can't fully understand that decision. But it was mainly because of the weather. I really don't like cold weather. I can deal with it. Well, the cold weather, but the snow that comes. If you live up around the Great Lakes area or whatnot, then you understand the lake effect, snow. It's just ridiculous. It's overkill. But, so in my hometown, South Bend. What's up, South Bend? What's up, South Bend? God. There's so much I can say about this city. But currently, and we're gonna stay on somewhat of a task, because there will be some tangents. It just is what it is. But in South Bend, there's a strip on the lakeside. And then shout out to the lakeside. We just had a reunion. And got to see some people I hadn't seen in literally 30 years. It was fucking amazing. But South Bend we've never had an area where the blacks lived and owned everything and flourished. So when I was coming up on the lakeside, the businesses were owned by the Polish, right? Okay. Then it went from the Polish, presumably, it was more of a black neighborhood. You would think that the blacks would start taking over the businesses. But somehow it skips over the blacks. And now the Indian, Pakistani, wherever it's from, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. And Latinos, like from solidly from Olive Street. And if you know South Bend, you know what I'm talking about. From Olive and Western Avenue down to Lombardy and Western Avenue, all the businesses are owned by Latinos. Every single fucking one. Except for the gas stations. And of course, they're owned by the Indians, which I mentioned earlier. And I'm talking about the goddamn banks. First Source Bank right there. It's essentially all Latino. Goddamn Popeyes. Essentially all Latino. And you may think I have something against Latinos, and I know how this is, but that's not the case at all. But what I do want to mention is that in saying that totals anywhere from 30, I have to say at least 30 businesses. I want to say more, but I haven't personally counted. But it's on both sides of the street. So the mechanic shop, the old bakery, the old ice cream shop, you know what I'm saying, the old cleaners, the Zycus cleaners, they own it all. They own it all. And they're allowing you, when I say they, the powers that be, are allowing you to flourish. Just like every other immigrant race is coming over here. The Chinese, the Koreans, they've all been allowed to rise on the back of a black patronage as the base. When I say they're allowing you this, because it appears, what appears to some is that they get over here and see, these black folks, they don't know nothing. They don't know how to do nothing. No, we had shit way before this, and each and every time it's been burned down, generally for someone raping a white woman. Generally starts the destruction of said town. I'm not going to list and go through all the towns, but I would, advise you to do a little research your goddamn self and see how many times our establishments, our communities, our places of business have been burned down for the most non-legitimate reasons. This is not excuse making. I'm speaking fucking facts. You know, so we've been taught, it's been inbred in us that we better not. It's even like they work, you get 2 or 3 niggas standing together. Somebody finna come break you up. You go that way, you go that way, you go that way. You know what I'm saying? This is what it is. They don't like seeing us do nothing together. And I can't speak why. I can't understand why. It's worldwide, it's global. You know what I'm saying? There's a hate. Not essentially just for black, but the black American is hated all across the globe, especially here in America. Now, to those same Latino businesses, imagine waking up one night, or being woken up to your shit's on fire. You know, everything's burnt down. You know, and you gotta start again. Just imagine that. This is what we had to endure here in America. You know. So they're allowing you all to flourish. And it's lovely to see, you know. It is. Because I imagine, you know, us or me in that position, being able to own a store, get some finance. We can't get the finance, and I don't give a fuck. They'll always find a way to knock you. Always. I'm getting that loan. You know, but even after all that bullshit, look at, we just resilient. The resiliency, I believe, is it can't be understood. You know, for a race of people to thrive in a nation that was constantly, and still constantly to this day, constantly making us the enemy. You know, you can't really excel in here unless you play sports. What if, motherfuckers, speaking of sports, what if black folks said, okay, in the next 10 years, we ain't playing no sports. We need doctors, lawyers, politicians, judges, tradesmen, okay, etc. We gotta fill out. We need to build. We gotta start all over. So when you start all over with anything, you raise it, R-A-Z-E, to the ground, and build from the bottom up. Okay? And because I don't know what they're doing to these niggas, these professional athletes. I don't know what they're doing. It must be something in their contract where you can't come back and help your peoples. You know, because you didn't get there by yourself. Especially if you told me. I mean, motherfuckers sacrifice for you, man. You know. And they get these white women, have kids, get divorced. She gets the money. Then he comes back with nothing, just like he left. You know, over and over again, it's the same thing. These dumb motherfuckers, stop having kids when you playing sports. God damn it, you at best got 10 years to play professionally, at best. You can't wait after 10 years to have, you know what I'm saying, when you're in your 30s to have kids. When you retire from playing sports and ain't earning millions a year, they have no recourse, no way to get your money you've already earned. Just wait. Anyway, that's a topic for another day, but black athletes, biggest sellouts we got. Okay, biggest sellouts we got. And again, that goes back to the civil rights fight We want our schools. They should have had equal funding. Why send out to bus our kids to integrate? That shit killed us. Put us in the position that we are now. You know. But we need to find some way to take our children out of the workforce, even basic jobs. We want our own industry. We want our own restaurants. We want our own gas stations. We want our own grocery stores. We want our own, period. Not saying that we don't want to be a part of America, but we're tired. You look up, I'm not finna do the research. I've done it. You look and see how long the black dollar stays in its own community. It's less than 7 days. You know, and I believe in the Jewish community, they have the longest stay of the dollar. It might have changed by now, because the Latinos are a big force and they fuck with each other. So their dollar might stay within their community at least 20, 30 days. And when I say the dollar stays in the community, that means that they spend it amongst themselves before they spend it to another group racially. And I believe the Jewish at one point in time was like 40 days. So that same dollar, that same amount is bouncing around in these families. So everybody gets a piece of it before it leaves, or get a chance to make some interest off of it before it leaves the Jewish community. We have the least amount of time in that, because we don't have black businesses to spend our money with. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it just is what it is. I'm not making anything up. I'm not crying about anything. I'm just stating a fucking fact. You know, these are fucking facts. You know? And have we been our own worst enemy at times? Yeah. You know? But you essentially have us living in a fucking insane asylum. There's not enough jobs. We can't be white enough. There's not enough jobs. There's not enough opportunities. And you got all these mouths to feed, or trying to feed. Yeah, it gets crazy. You know? And you might turn on your own for sustenance. You know? But even once you do get a job, it's like, okay, I see you got 100 staff members. 95 of them is white. You trying to tell me you couldn't find any black qualified? Nobody that came and applied was qualified. Anyway, that is one of the hardest things to adjust to when you get to work. Is trying to find some comfort level. And the range of difficulties, or just the range of difficulty differs with each individual, because it has to do with what you're willing to part with once you get to work. What part of yourself do you have to leave at home just to get through a day of work? You can't go to work and be yourself. There's gonna be some ghetto remarks, you know. A motherfucker use the term ghetto. I know they don't know what the fuck they talking about, because suburbs are ghettos if they consist of somewhat of the same, essentially the same race. If there's a large dwelling of people in the same race, it's a ghetto. The ghetto, the poor, ghettos initially were called Jewish ghettos because they were a bunch of Jewish people that lived together, same area. And it was due to their economic condition at that time that they were all living in the same area. But those were called ghettos. You know, and maybe it has to be poor, you know. Something else I have to look up. I can't stand on stone on that because I can't remember, but anyway, it is really, really difficult. And I'm gonna speak for those that can't fucking speak for themselves. Just because I'm not scared to, you know, but working around and going to school around white folks is one of the hardest things that you have to get ready for. It's not even the workload, you know. It's not even the workload. It's funny to me, the statement that Elon Musk made one time that if he sees a black pilot, he's gonna question if it's DEI. You stupid motherfucker. If you got a black pilot in that motherfucker, I'm finna rest well. Because I know that this motherfucker had to do every single thing proper. He wasn't given any grace. You know, he probably had to take tests that the other motherfucking applicants didn't have to take. You know, because you can say you qualified to do something, you get somewhere, they still want to see you. Well, let me see you do. I'm not doing that. You think they're going to send somebody here unqualified? You know, but this questioning your integrity is questioning your intellect because they're taught that black is bad, black is dumb, black is stupid, black is foolish. You know, and I don't quite understand how. You look how far we came off the little bit of shit that we were given. You know, stupidity is not a part of that. But then I digress because I don't really need to prove anything, and I don't need your acceptance or your admission to anything for me to believe anything about myself or about my people. You know, so that's just one thing. But yeah, just, you know, again, this is not one big bitch session. I'm just telling you what's fucking real. It's hard as fuck for a black man at a job because most of the good jobs, quote unquote, are just filled with white people for whatever reason. You know, if you happen to get one of these jobs, you go there. 9 times out of 10, if you got dreads, you got to cut them, you got gold teeth, you got to pull them out. You know, your swagger and your dialect has to change. You know, that's a lot to give up. That's basically who you are. Some people think it's worth it. And I'll admit you gotta do what you gotta do. I understand that. You know, that's something that we shouldn't have to do. But it's highly difficult. Highly difficult in the workspace. I think we need to take our children to change the direction that they're going. Fuck with sports. Yeah, you do it recreationally to stay in shape, whatever, but not for the schools and not professionally. Understand this, that those large contracts that these guys are getting, because they're just glorified employees getting chips off. So if they can pay one player $189 million over whatever time period, those are crumbs. You know, You should teach your son that you want to be in the owner's place, not the players. They still being told what the fuck to do, you know, and not bosses. And then they can't even take their money and reinvest it in their own hoods. What the fuck are they good for? What are they good for? You know, I didn't say give nothing. I said reinvest. For motherfuckers, motherfuckers, somebody had to invest their time to get you to where you at, because it doesn't have a dollar value on it. You don't have any respect for it. But the time is the most valuable thing that people have. You didn't have a car to get back and forth to fucking practice. You know what I'm saying? You had to eat. You needed shoes, clothes, all this other shit. They made sure that whoever, and I'm talking to any athlete that's a professional now, that came from whatever background you came from, somebody had to sacrifice for you to get to where you at. And they had to sacrifice their time. But anyway, no, you follow the internet, you see what's going on, and the trending thing, and I watch it. The trending thing is a lot of these, I guess you would call them gangsters, because like I would never call myself like a street nigga. You understand what I'm saying? I wasn't raised like that. I did what I had to do. I took care of my family. I didn't buy the big rims and big tires and booming systems and redoing cars and shit like that. Nah, if I had spent $600 on myself to say at the mall, this or some shit, then I'm spending $600 on my kids too. So that's what I was in the streets for. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't to glorify anything. And believe me when I tell you that even till this day, I would rather be doing that than working. And it's not because of the money, yeah, but again, the conditions at work as opposed to the conditions at being in the, you know, street and being able to do what you want to do, move, shake and bake how you want to move and shake and bake. But, you know, again, it is what it is, you know. I often think back to a lot of people that got busted, you know, and you ask yourself like, damn, the police, they just so motherfucking smart, but I just get, now the police always got a snitch. Always got a snitch. The police don't know what's going on. It's impossible for them to know that you took a trip and did something like this unless somebody told them. They always have an informant. Always. They can't be the police without them. You know, they can't be the police without them. Most motherfuckers that's in jail, you look to your left and right, and that's the reason why you're in jail. You know, because how you gonna be a criminal and you can't read or write good? How you gonna interpret the laws, figure out ways to skirt them? You know, your best asset is you, and you don't even fully prepare that motherfucker, protect that motherfucking asset. But I don't understand how you, one of the best hustlers I ever knew, and this is no bullshit, like I'm, you know, at the time, you know, serving dudes quarters and halves and shit like that. This motherfucker wanting the whole thing after, you know. And I mean, with no flim flam, I mean, this motherfucker, he did piece for piece, period. He wasn't getting no deal out of this nigga. Piece for piece. So, shit, I had to pass the nigga on. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can't. But the nigga couldn't read or write. How you? So if you can't even go on a run, how you gonna go on a run? Say you needed to. How you gonna read your indictment papers? How you gonna read and see if motherfucker? I don't understand. Like, to me, if you cannot read or write, and I mean anything, it's not due to some mental, impairment or whatnot. If you cannot read or write, then you're basically blind. You just can see, but you're basically blind. It's essentially hard to interpret, the thoughts of a motherfucking madman. Because goddamn it, you are essentially a madman. You got all these people doing this dumb shit. You get this dumb shit that's going on in the streets. I mean, and I'm watching these shows, and I'm thinking to myself, like, damn, this motherfucker could have been an LD. This motherfucker could have, and you'll never know, but they own the internet telling every fucking thing that they. I mean, the game is dead, essentially, because there's no anonymity, there's no privacy, and shit all the feds gotta do is watch that shit. What's his name? Lil Durk. I like Lil Durk, you know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong, I'm banging a couple of his tracks. It's a little background for me. Like, I never liked anything else but rap music. I always felt like pop music, it was missing something, and it was the bass and the frequency of the music, which didn't cue well with me. So when first heard Planet Rock, it stopped me in my tracks. And that was at the Charles Black Center. I remember I was walking into that motherfucking big speaker sitting outside. The Charles Black Center is located on the Lakeside. What's up, Lakeside? I always shout out to Lakeside when I say Lakeside. What's up, Lakeside? But this on the, and when I heard that motherfucker, I was mystified. But then when I heard Rakim, I was 13 years old. I was in Flint, Michigan, visiting my relatives, and I was walking around the block, and somebody was banging that motherfucker out there, goddamn, garage. I ain't no joke. That was it. Anyway, I heard Lil Durk. The very first thing I said when I heard Lil Durk, I said, damn, he sounds like he didn't graduate high school. That was my first thought. And it was some of his early music. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, no interviews and riding with Wolves, I banged the shit out that motherfucker. But that was my first thought when I'm listening to his dialect and his word usage. First thing I said was, it sounded like he didn't graduate. And just out of nowhere, it was a couple, maybe 2, 3, 4, it was a few months later, Lil Durk gets his GED. So it's evident when you talk that you're uneducated. But if you're not educated, then you wouldn't know that you sound uneducated when you open your mouth. So like I said, I'm not trying to knock anything or anyone, just spitting the facts. Period. No cut, no fluff. But this is a side note. We allow them, and I said the powers that be, to ruin rap. How the fuck you gonna take away the DJ out of hip hop? The DJs are the ones that started hip hop. Wasn't the rappers. The rapping was a causal effect. The way the music made them feel. The music came from the DJs. Now that whole base is gone. Now we do anything for money. And those contracts, and oh my God, like I said, we do anything for money. You know, that was lightning. If you heard that, it's raining where I'm at right now. That was lightning. But one thing I want to touch on before I end this particular segment is, and I made mention of it earlier about us playing sports, but we more so let's examine our participation in football and the resultant it's the end results of what you get. I was watching the day where Roger Craig was, who should have been in the Hall of Fame. I just assumed he already was, but he acknowledged that he had dementia. Like it was just one, you know, out of every so many NFL players that had that shit. That's just the rest. You know, he was genetically predisposed to get that. But you playing a sport with your brain, again, Dr. such and such, I forgot his name, the African motherfucker, demonstrated that the brain has no protective, it's just sitting in a vat. Your head, your skull bone is just a vat with fluid in it. With this brain, this control system floating around, unprotected, so any hit, large impact, your brain's gonna slap up against your brain, you know what I'm saying, your skull. No matter what, there's no way to protect it. There's no matter what gear they give you kids or these adults to play, you know, football, it's not gonna protect your brain. You know, and then recently, Mountain Green, he's played for the Packers. He has Parkinson's. Him and Brett Favre have Parkinson's. Your boy Chris Johnson. And this is no fucking joke. Like, when I first seen Chris Johnson on TV, I thought it was a fucking puppet. You know, when you put your hand in the back, he was sitting there, you know, with his shirt on, everything too big. So what is this? And he has ALS, which is Lou Gehrig's disease. And you just look at the history of football players and how they lived after playing football. A sport where you done convince two grown motherfuckers to get in tip-top shape physically, then collide. Full speed. You know? And like, is it worth it? I would say those suffering those debilitating diseases would tell you otherwise. But even deeper than that, they already think that niggas is stupid. I don't know if you remember the concussion lawsuit, you know, and the reason why most blacks were turned down for theirs. Now get this now. It's because essentially they were saying that they started off with less scruples, you know, and the fact that this white man that started off with such a higher level of intellectual prowess that he was due the money from the concussion thing, you know, because black folks were constantly being turned down. Their claims were being turned down for to be paid, you know, after. So okay, they essentially said, let's say white folks mentally start off at 99. Say you niggas, us niggas, we started off. It started off at 77. This is the smartest you can get. Okay, so say after some while, you play football, blah, 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 there's another reassessment of your mental capabilities, and it went from 77 to 72. Okay, you lost 5 points. Okay, but they said the white man, when he started off at 99. Now he's assessed, he's down to 77. He lost 22 points. So really, niggas, you didn't lose that much mental, intellectual capacity, but the white man suffered more. So he was awarded his money. So yeah, they had to sue. But the concussion lawsuit, they had to sue to get their money. Because the NFL player, NFL team owner said that these motherfuckers already started out dumb. That them playing football didn't have that much of an effect, you know, on their mental capacity. But it really affected this white man. So that's who you're playing for. But then again, like I said, yes, is that shit really worth it? It's guaranteed damn near you gonna get hurt. And when do you ever take a break? If you start playing football at Pop Warner, I don't know, elementary, middle school, high school, college, when do you take a break? You don't get 12 months off. Your body gonna need 12 months to repair after playing the game of football. We ain't doing nothing. You know, they never had that time, so some of them are nursing injuries that they've had since middle school, or had since high school, or had since college. You know, I don't know. That's not really for me to assess. What I can do personally, I'll just say this, that if you want to let your son play football and he's good, I'll come watch him. Me and my sons. But I won't let my son play football. It's not worth it. We need doctors, lawyers, politicians, EMTs. We need laboratory motherfucking assistants. We need scientists. We need whatever the case. We need to start out. We gotta get our own shit together. We need our own industries. I'm not saying that we're not part of America, but seemingly America doesn't want us a part of their financial boom or success stories or whatever the case. I don't understand it. I don't know where the hate comes from. I would never change who I am. I love being who I am. I love being black. Not saying that I hate white, but I love being black. You understand what I'm saying? So that is how we're going to end this thing tonight or in the morning or wherever you at. T1, TheTodkazzPodkazz, always here, always ready. You stay ready. You ain't got to get ready. That's what I was told in any motherfucking way. You have a good night.
If Sensei didn't mix it, I don't want it.
RC beats on the
What he
fucking
said,
track.
what goes up, it must come down. I'm coming down, but I ain't trying to touch the ground.
wrote a switch and then wrote 2 more. They think they know me, they think they can control me. What he said, what goes up, it must come down. I'm coming down, but I ain't tryna touch the ground right now. I wrote a switch and then wrote 2 more. They think they know me, they can't control me. I don't understand, just leave me lonely. I'm the one who can control me. If I don't want you around me, then you can say you found me when I was low. You think you understand what's going on in my life? Then you said you figured that I ain't doing right. Then you said you was here for me, but really you ain't here for me, cause you ain't hearing me. Tried to poison me, baby, but I don't even know you. Don't bite the hand that feeds you, but time, yeah, it show you. Bitches and niggas is fake, yeah, you know it. You can't turn a hoe into a housewife if you can't please show it. In these streets, no, ain't no fear in me. That's why I sit back and just smoke my weed. I let the high get the best of me. Please don't pass no Reggie to me. Smoke exotic gas from the lowest streets, and it's smoking mountains, you ain't high as me. I'm in the sky, won't come down right now. No, I'm in the sky, won't come down right now. But when I'm coming down like a roller coaster. Coming down so fast, it ain't flip me over. It's time to choose a better path, cause this one I chose and nah, it ain't gon' last. Cause they say guilty by association, but nah, I think that bitch is racist. Monkey see, monkey do, monkey hear, but that monkey that you see is in the mirror. Now that monkey beautiful, can feel it in the soul. What goes up, it must come down. I'm coming down, but I ain't tryna touch the ground right now. I wrote a switch and then wrote 2 more. They think they know me, they think they can control me. What he said, what goes up, it must come down. I'm coming down, but I ain't tryna touch the ground right now. I wrote a switch and then wrote 2 more. They think they know me, they think they can control me. What he said, yeah, I must come down. They think they know what I'm going through, but not right now. No, they think they know me.